Mucklick here, and I make concise game reviews that help you decide if you want to buy something without spoiling the game for you. This is Noob the Factionless, a turn-based single-player adventure RPG. It is available on PC, PS4, PS5, Nintendo Switch, and Xbox, and is rated E for everyone 10 and up. In full disclosure, I received this game for free as part of my work, but the goal of this review is to determine whether or not this game is worth its $30 price tag for you. The game's setting, with no spoilers beyond the early tutorial. In Noob, you play as a group of gamers who play a game. Stay with me here. Two of them in particular are playing for the first time, but want to get into the game's esports, but need to get max level in order to do that. They join up with two other players who have similar passions and begin working their way up, but not always in the most orthodox of ways. They're faced with numerous challenges, both in their real lives and also in the game on their way to the top, and as they begin to gather more and more attention with their factionless leveling method. Imagine if someone played the Warcraft series, but they didn't commit to the Horde or the Alliance. General gameplay. It's key to remember that you are playing the story of a player, and they are playing the game. Sometimes they make decisions without your input, the first being what class they want to play. You do, however, get to decide how to build them with things like talents and equipment choices. You are playing an MMO in their world, so there are lots of other players and NPCs, multiple factions, trade skills you can level, and quests to do. You are also occasionally pulled into their real world for various moments in the story, such as them taking a break or meeting up at an esports tournament in real life. The game's combat is turn-based, speed determining who goes first. Outside of combat, the game is heavily story-focused and pauses your leveling every 10 levels. Typically, an upcoming step of the main story will break you through that barrier, allowing the next 10 levels to be unlocked. The environment and characters are charming, and the storytelling reminded me greatly of my own time in MMOs over the years. You would meet PvPers who want to pick a fight with you, GMs looking for cheaters or slacking off, other players with names like XX Dark Legolas XX and Captain Jack Sparrow. At one point, one of the main characters had trouble with his internet due to construction and had to sprint to an internet cafe to keep playing. Noob the Factionless took me 24 hours of gameplay to clear most of the game. I'll come back to this topic. While there is some side content you can do outside of the main story, such as repeatable quests, the main focus was on the questline, and I feel the rewards from deviating off of that were minimal. Comparisons to other games. The gameplay in combat was similar to other party turn-based games, such as Final Fantasy and Xenogears. However, again, with the difference that you are playing a character who is playing a game, and they sometimes make their own decisions, or you play them in their real world outside of their game. The details. Graphics. The graphics in this title were cute and reminded me of Nintendo Mii's with a bit more detail. The armor and weapons of the avatars do update as you get new equipment. The worlds themselves, both of them, were charming with lots of colors, with many distinct regions. Sound and music. The various regions of the world each have their own soundtracks and combat music, giving some nice variety in this regard. Likewise, the attacks of the various skills were good, though many of them did reuse the same effects. Controls. The game can be played with controller or keyboard, no mouse. My only complaint is I had to learn the basic controls through trial and error. The game does not tell you on the main menu that C is confirm, or yes, and A is no, or ah! I assume that's why they picked A for that button. Last button to know is T opens up the menu in-game. After figuring those three keys out, I had no further control issues, but would like to see something on the main screen explaining it for people like me fumbling with the main menu right out of the gate. Saving system. Like many other games in the genre, the game is saved at specific cutscenes and save stations. When you find a station, you can save your progress up to that point, so you always want to find one before logging off for the night. Content creator concerns. None. I streamed my entire playthrough on Twitch and uploaded the entire thing to our Mucklick Plays YouTube channel and did not experience any muted VODs or have any issues with copyright claims. Do I have anything negative to say? As mentioned before, the basic controls should be displayed at the start. Many of the quests are too vague, such as someone running up to you and asking for help as their village is under attack right now, yet not telling you which direction their village is, so you have to wander around in circles until you happen to find it. The required level for gathering ingredients seems a bit off. In the level 1 zone, ingredients required 0 skill points to gather, which seemed normal. Then you find materials that require level 80, then 20, then 50. Very quickly, you cannot gather any more as your gathering level is nowhere near the level of the things you come across, unless you keep reloading an earlier zone and farm repeatedly. Next, the buff and debuff system has one flaw with it. Let's say you cast a buff on someone that gives them a shield for 1 turn. Then you reach the end of that round, the shield will wear off, even though that person hasn't had a turn yet. It counts down the duration of buffs and debuffs at the end of a round of combat, not at the end of the individual's turns. Lastly, the reason I wasn't able to finish it, it would occasionally freeze. I don't mean the application, that was fine. I mean that it would be the enemy's turn, they would do an action, then would not give me my turn. And we would just stand there vibing until I closed the program and reopened it. This happened to me a few times in the end game, and compounded by the ability to only save in certain areas. While trying to finish the game, I had this issue happen a few times back to back, each time costing me quite a chunk of time till I just decided to set the game down until I see a patch. Final thoughts. The game was charming, silly, and fun. It followed the journey of these gamers through a very interesting story as they worked their way through this MMO in creative ways on their goal to become professional gamers. I truly did enjoy my time playing it, however it is definitely rough around the edges. It feels like the framework for a very fun story-driven title, but it really needs a patch to fix the rough edges. At this moment, I cannot say that this game is worth it. However, if you like the sound of it, I encourage you to bookmark or wishlist it until you see a patch hit. My own gameplay was done on a release version before any patches have been released, so hopefully if you see any later on, that will mean that these bumps have been smoothed out. Fingers crossed. This video was not sponsored, so if you enjoyed it, please consider hitting that like button to help us out with the YouTube algorithm and subscribe for more content. If you'd like to see more of my own playthrough of Noob the Factionless, I'll include a link to those playlists from our other channel down below. Subscribe there too. As always, massive thank you to our dear patrons who make content like this possible. If you'd like to become a supporter and earn early access, there is a link to that in the description. Happy gaming!